By this point, I'm hoping that you've had a chance to read Oedipus Rex and watch Minority Report. The movie demonstrates how the structures of the Oedipus story play out in the form of a science fiction story with some elements of the crime genre and even a little bit of film noir. Now, if you haven't seen Minority Report, you're going to find it both entertaining and useful for thinking about story structure and genre. So the plot of Minority Report takes place in a world where crime has been eliminated, or they're trying to eliminate it through the use of the precogs, an anti-crime program called pre-crime. And the precogs, they see future crimes, and then members of the law enforcement pre-crime team rush out to intervene and stop would-be criminals before those crimes can happen. So it's not so much that crime has been wiped out, it's just that they have a program for preventing it from happening in the first place. Now, the main problem in the story occurs when the precogs predict that the hero, John Anderton, will commit a murder in 36 hours by killing someone he doesn't even know yet. So we already see a parallel here with Oedipus. Like Oedipus, Anderton determines to solve a crime in which he's been implicated that he hasn't even committed yet, and he's looking to find a minority report, which may be the key to proving his innocence. So you'll want to watch the movie to know what a minority report is. One of the first things that you're going to notice in this story that's really important is that it takes place in Washington, D.C. Now, the filmmakers didn't need to place it in this very important city. They could have chosen to place it anywhere or base it in New York, as Philip K. Dick had done in his short story. And I recommend reading that short story because it will help you see how deliberately the filmmakers aligned their adaptation with the Oedipus myth. Now, the Oedipal elements are really barely perceptible in the original story, but they just pop out right in the movie. And one of the reasons that you see this is Washington, D.C. So why is Washington, D.C. such a telling choice? Well, like Thebes, Washington is a major capital and the center of power in the world, right? So when reading Oedipus, people often overlook the fact that the plague isn't just happening in some village or whatever. It's happening in a place where such widespread sickness affected the trade of entire nations. And so this is happening as well with Washington, D.C. Notice too that Oedipus is a king. Well, Anderton's not a king, but he's the chief of police. And his work is to remove the plague, quote-unquote plague, of crime from the city before it can take place. So he's the main investigator of a crime that he is supposedly going to commit from his position as basically the king of crime prevention. And so this is very interesting. And he has all kinds of information about this because of his relationship with the precogs, who in this story essentially play a similar role as the oracle played in Oedipus. And as in Oedipus, the hero of Minority Report has to investigate the truth based on predictions, and a particular prediction that cannot possibly be true. And yet, as he investigates this prediction, he fulfills the prediction, and of course it's in a surprising way, but all of this causes us to question the nature of fate, justice, and the problems of leadership in society, while bringing in these different kinds of fear that go in a chain, that are put together in a very interesting way. So you want to go back and look at your notes about what those different kinds of fear are and try and identify them in Minority Report, and feel free to post an essay about that in the Facebook group. Now, because Anderton is this professional and elevated individual in society and very important, much of the pleasure in the story is about watching this powerful person suffer and struggle. So like Oedipus, he experiences this reversal of fortune, and he finds out what it's like to be pursued by the law that he normally represents. So he's accused of this crime that he hasn't committed yet, and he has to confront the very power of the law that he himself represents, which is so interesting. It really raises so many moral questions. As in Oedipus, the hero of Minority Report spends just as much time going back into his past as he does living in the present, and he's fearing the consequences of the future, being caught, being punished. And this is interesting because the structure brings together the past and the present and the future as a metaphor for how we live so much in our heads. We're thinking about the past, we're worrying about the future, we're constantly looking out for ourselves in the present moment, and we're not really finding much about ourselves. And this also happens in a field of predictions of the future. So this whole idea of the oracle and the precogs are important fictional metaphors, but also when it comes to Minority Report, we have the opportunity to see something very special, because we live in a world where we're constantly obsessed with the future all the time, and in at least two different ways. So we have psychics, and a lot of those psychics are on TV. They're reading tarot cards, they're divining information from crystals, or they're doing readings, palm readings, or just cold readings of what people have to say on TV. And going along with that, we also have this other special kind of predictions like the stock market, the NASDAQ index, and these things offer the enticement of making money by somehow giving us insight into the future. And all of this lends itself to another theme in the movie, which is the theme of sight. So we'll look at that in the next video.